all on both sides of the aisle in this great deliberate body for showing the United States and the entire world that the United States Senate is not broken. Actually, we're doing fine, and we can work together and do much better. We can also come together to accomplish big things, and we did with this investment in American infrastructure. America has not seen this type of infrastructure investment in the last 30 years. We've talked about it a lot, haven't seen anything. The polls have shown the American people are overwhelmingly supportive of this infrastructure deal. Americans of both political parties know it's long past time to make this investment. They want their roads repaired so the children are safe on their buses. They want better internet service so they can connect and compete in the 21st century. It's just unbelievable what we can do. This is clean water and upgraded sewer systems. You would think in the 21st century this not would be a void anywhere in America, but it is. It really is. This is the largest long-term jobs bill in decades. It will create good-paying, long-term jobs over the next 8 to 10 years. So if you want to basically making sure that we don't hit the highs and the lows as far as in the job opportunities, job markets, and the economy, this bill does that. It's the largest investment in clean drinking water and wastewater infrastructure in the history of our country. In the history of our country. It's the largest dedicated bridge investment since the construction of the interstate highway system. It's the largest investment in energy transmission on history and puts our money where our mouth is on technologies that are critical for the future. And it's the largest federal investment in passenger rail since the creation of Amtrak. And our bipartisan infrastructure package does not raise taxes on everyday Americans. It does not. A large piece of this bipartisan infrastructure bill came out of the Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which I'm privileged and honored to chair. We reported the Energy Infrastructure Act out of our committee with a bipartisan vote after holding a legislative hearing and a robust amendment process. That's called regular order. It's something we've heard about for many years. We just haven't seen it for a long time, and it is working. The Energy Infrastructure Act will create good-paying jobs and demonstrate the energy technologies needed to reduce emissions while maintaining affordable, reliable, and dependable energy and our nation's position as a global energy leader. I have said all along, Mr. President, that the United States of America is now energy independent. We must fight to maintain that position. We should not be held captive by any foreign entity or any foreign country that basically we're depending any type of supplies that the American people need. Any type of supplies. And energy is one of our greatest. And we can do it cleaner and better than ever. I've always said, you cannot eliminate your way to a cleaner environment. You can innovate your way to a cleaner environment. And we have proven that. And we can do it an awful lot more, too. It also builds off the great work already done in my home state of West Virginia and your state of Virginia, Mr. President, to demonstrate advanced geothermal technologies and establish a reliable U.S.-based rare earth element supply chain. I've had consideration, I've had some pause on us moving so rapidly in electric vehicles. My reason for my pause has been this. We do not produce the rare earth minerals that's needed to build these batteries. And we've got to be very, very careful that we don't put our transportation system, our transportation mode in America in the hands of foreign supply chains. We could be held very, very captive along those. I remember the 70s when the oil embargo from the oil embargo basically shut us down, shut our businesses down. And then we had rapid inflation coming after that. It's just horrible. Importantly, the legislation also reauthorizes abandoned mine and reclamation fee. In Southwest Virginia and all of West Virginia, we have a tremendous amount of mines that produce the energy this country needed to be the superpower of the world. Now it's far beyond time for us to clean up. And this is something we can do, and this bill does that. It was set to expire as far as our AML land reclamation fees in September for an additional 13 years. We've extended that while investing $11.3 billion into reclaiming these abandoned coal mine lands, which an awful lot of leachate and water and things of that sort have been harming for a long, long time, needs to be fixed. It also funds a demonstration of clean energy on the abandoned mine lands and authorizes grants for manufacturers to locate in coal communities. These coal communities around the country bear the scars of the work that powered our nation to greatness. And this investment will clean up those areas and provide new economic opportunities. The bill also shores up our electric and reliability grid system. Our grid has basically been around for a long time, and with all the new technologies coming on and all the renewable power, that's not always produced in the areas where we have the grid system. And it's time for us to expand in making sure our grid system is able to deliver the energy our country needs. The Bipartisan Energy Infrastructure Act authorizes $110 billion, much of which is also funded, and it's a vital component of the whole infrastructure package. So we're not just talking about it, we're putting a lot of money to upgrading the grid system, the reliability of it. This bill will truly do much good across the United States. Let me just give you the historic investment in the needs of our nation. $110 billion for the roads and bridges, $65 billion for broadband access, $66 billion for railroads, $25 billion for airports, $55 billion for drinking water and wastewater systems. I don't know what infrastructure is if you don't call that infrastructure. This is as good as it gets. It's something that we all have talked about for many, many years. My state of West Virginia benefits from this bipartisan infrastructure bill. It'll help expand broadband access across West Virginia with a minimum allocation of $100 million to help provide broadband coverage across our state, including providing access to at least 258,000 West Virginians who currently lack it. Because of our terrain, and I think you've been there many, many times, you understand what we're dealing with. It's real challenging. But if we take just common sense approach, and I've always said this, if during Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he took over after the Great Depression, if he could electrify, rural electrification, electrified America, if he could do that in the 30s, surely to goodness that we can basically make sure that every household has fast, high-speed internet service. We can make that happen. And we're going to use the same blueprint that was used many, many years ago, almost 100 years ago. We believe that a number is much higher than the 258,000. But here's again, I'm urging the FCC to fix the coverage on the maps. The maps are not accurate. They haven't been accurate for years. And I'll never forget, I had one of the chairmen of the FCC in my state one time, and we were talking. I said, why don't you meet me in a certain place in my state? And I said, we'll have a meeting. I want to talk to you. He was kind. He drove over there with his staff. I said, why don't you call back to your office and ask if they have any messages for you? I said, the map here shows, your map shows that you're covered. I said, you can use any phone you want, any service you might have. And he says, my goodness, I didn't know. I said, sir, this is exactly what we're dealing with. The maps are not accurate, and West Virginians are getting left behind. There are 543,000, or 31% of the people in West Virginia will be eligible for the affordability connectivity benefits, which will help low-income families. You can have internet service, but if it's so costly people can't afford it, then you have a problem. This goes along the same thing as LIHEAP. We call it to help people in utilities that basically are working hard, trying to make it, but having a hard time. This makes sure that everyone can connect and basically benefit from this opportunity. West Virginia also has some of the worst roads in the nation. This bipartisan bill will repair and rebuild our roads and bridges. West Virginia, there are 1,545 bridges, 1,545, and over 3,200 miles of highway in poor condition. Since 2011, commute times have increased by 6.5%. And on average, each driver pays $726 per year in additional costs due to repairs by driving on roads that have needed repair. That's simply unacceptable. And truly, it shows the deferred maintenance that we've let go for far too long. Based on formula alone, West Virginia will receive $3 billion for federal aid, highway programs, and $506 million for bridge replacement and repairs. We have the greatest need of bridge replacement. The reason why, in the 1930s, the Constitution of West Virginia changed during the Great Depression, and basically everything was put on the state. Before that, local counties, communities, they were all responsible to a certain extent. But when the Depression hit, the Constitution was changed in 1932, the height of the Depression, and everything was said, this is the state's responsibility. We can't pay no more. So the state has a tremendous obligation here, and we want to make sure we help them. West Virginia can also compete for the $12.5 billion bridge investment program for economically significant bridges and nearly $16 billion of national funding in the bill dedicated for major projects that will deliver substantial economic benefits to communities. And we have to address public transportation in the Mountain State. West Virginians who take public transportation spend an extra 77% of their time commuting. And non-white households are 5 times more likely to commute via public transportation. It's a fact. And we have to address these facts and fix them. 32% of the trains and other transit vehicles in the state are past their useful life. A third are past their useful life. Based on formula funding, West Virginia would expect to receive $196 million over 5 years to improve public transportation, which is desperately, desperately needed. These investments are vital to bringing good-paying jobs to our state of West Virginia and your state of Virginia and all of our states in this great country of ours, and spurring economic development like we've never seen before, solid economic development, not just sending checks, not people just receiving checks, people receiving an opportunity, the dignity of work, the ability to be able to do what needs to be done in order for you to survive and sustain your quality of life. I'm incredibly proud of our bipartisan group of senators who have worked together day and night to hammer out a compromise that will address our infrastructure needs without going overboard. And I'll remind everyone, not one senator got everything they wanted, but we all got what we needed. This is how compromise works. This is what this body was made for. This is what the Senate and why the Senate is called the most deliberate body. It is hard when you want to basically take every opportunity to work with every single senator here to make sure you can help them with the problems and needs they have in their own states. And that's what we've done. I've always said the best politics is good government. Everybody worries about, oh, I'm not sure if that's good for my politics. Let me tell you, you do something good for all, it's good for you. That'll be the best politics you've ever done. We do something good, we all take credit for it. I've seen people take credit for things they voted against because it was good. It worked well. Didn't bother me at all. I'm glad. Maybe they won't fight us as hard the next time. Maybe they might join us. Who knows? I look forward to passing this important legislation with strong bipartisan support. I just think, Mr. President, this is a moment for our country. This is extremely important for our country to show that we can still work together, to show that we are united when it comes to the needs. I've always said there's a few things in this country that basically unites us. One has always been our military. We want to support our military, our law enforcement officers, our firemen, all the people that run into harm's way when everyone else is running away from harm's way. Those people are special, very special, and I've always said we all seem to rise always for that. But now we have one other. We have infrastructure that unites us. I've never seen a road in my state, in your state, or anywhere in the country that had a bad road or a bad pothole that busted my tire that had a Democrat or Republican name on it. It'll get the Republican as well as it'll get me and you. So that's why this brings us together. We all have these needs. As governors, we had the same needs. We used to talk across the board, whether it be education, whether it be highways, whether it be different things that we needed in our state, that we all had the same concerns and problems with. We never worried about a Republican or Democrat being a governor. You had the same problems we all had, and we shared successes and the challenges and how to overcome those challenges. This is who we are as Americans, and how we become so divided, I don't know, and it worries me. And the reason I say this is probably the most important bill that we've worked on in many, many years, because it's the most difficult, challenging times of our life. Our country's never been more divided than it is today, and we need something to bring us together. I'm so thankful that President Biden has taken this piece of legislation as his own and gone around the country, and how important this piece of legislation is for not just his administration, but for the entire country. He's been able to identify that. Democrats and Republicans, we would have had 20 Republicans a day to get on the bill. Everyone's afraid, oh, somebody's going to get mad and leave, and this. We kept gaining. And as they see the support back home, it'll continue to create more momentum. That's what we need. This is extremely as important as anything we do from this day forward, to pass a bipartisan bill. Show the people that basically, yes, we are all Americans first, and we're going to take care of the deferred maintenance that we let go for far too long because of politics. We've set politics aside to take care of America. So I encourage all of my friends, please, look and see what this bill does for America. Look and see what this bill does for your state. You'll be surprised. And I think we've tried to help everybody that we could. And we will continue to work together. Thank you.